Hello, hello. What the fuck is happening? Hello everybody, we are the Geeks and the Dreads. I am Enzo. This is my forever co-host Chum. Today, we talk about Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. To sum it up very nicely, it's Harry Potter's not so great year at Hogwarts.
Are you saying like it was a bad movie or like?
No, it's just not a great year for him. It's a great
no,
movie.
hell no.
It's a really good movie.
Kid's going through puberty, but everything's just against him at this point.
Yeah.
Did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire?
Did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire?
We're getting right to it. Like, we begin with his nightmares that start off this horrible year at Hogwarts, like the return of the Dark Lord, and it only gets worse from here. Like, we learn that every so often there's like a tournament in Hogwarts,
Yeah.
or like the Wizarding World, this expanded universe that I don't think we really see much of in the Harry Potter movies. Like, it's only to here we learn about the French school and the Russian school.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where was this everywhere else? I'm confused.
Yeah, I think there's like one of the ones where they expanded on like the universe with like mer people, dragons, especially that maze thing, which was what I heard from like my mom and my brother saying that it was underutilized because it was a pretty big thing in the book.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah, like there was a whole like chimera manticore thing that roamed around the maze.
Yeah.
It wasn't just on the maze itself. There was like a creature like hunting them down.
Of course. I love how Dumbledore acknowledges the fact that all these challenges are dangerous. I'm like, oh, so it's not only Hogwarts that goes through this. It's every wizarding school. I was like, yeah, we'll put our lives on the line for this. Why not?
What do we get? Extracurricular,
Right?
It's just like points. Or like, all right.
But because of the Death Eater attack at the beginning, like there are new rules. Like you can't be 15 years old to put your name in the Goblet of Fire.
Yeah, you have to be over. You have to be 17 or above to like
Yeah.
do it.
But like,
You gotta love how he was just like, oh, once in a while we have this like tournament that like 3 wizards have to go through.
yeah.
It's a test of courage, and I was like, oh, cool, like so like Foundation Day or something like.
I guess.
Just like a little bit of the Olympics. Like even the Olympics won't even go this far.
Yeah, Olympics minus dragons and mer people. But like,
Yeah.
dark forces can't be stopped because they do put Harry's name in the Goblet of Fire, and Dumbledore calmly asks Harry, did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire in the book? Here he completely loses it. He's like, did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire?
Just like, I was like, Professor, I don't know if you're supposed to put your hands on the child, but okay.
Right?
But yeah, I love how you're like, after the whole spiel of like, yeah, this is for glory, and and you engraved yourself in history if you
Yeah.
win the Tri-Wizard tournament.
Yeah.
Only after the fact that you were like, by the way, people die in this thing, You're like,
People go sploot. I love the fact
Yeah.
that they also are like, well, there are no rules in the rulebook that say we have to withdraw somebody if they're not qualified, so Harry is just doomed. And Harry's like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
they're like, oh, his name wasn't, you can't really change it.
Yeah.
I was like, what's gonna happen to him if he just doesn't go?
One.
Does he die? Does the
right?
game not go on? What's the stake of him not going?
Yeah, they're in too deep, even though it's like before the first day, and you're like, really can't pull Harry out? Can't be like, actually, this whole tournament's cancelled. It's been compromised. We'll see you next time.
You gotta love how they're like, we gotta stick to the rules. If his name pops out, I'm like, that means he plays. But I was like, if you have to stick to the rules, wouldn't it be that you're kind of just at the limit of 3 wizards that
Right.
can join this like tournament?
Yeah, it's supposed to be.
So it doesn't make sense. So if they have to stick to the rules, but for some reason they don't.
Yeah, it's just supposed to be French girl, Russian guy, and pre-Twilight, pre-Batman, Edward, Rob Pattinson. Aside from Rob Pattinson, another new addition is Brendan Gleeson as Mad-Eye Moody, who introduces us to the forbidden curses, one that tortures people, one that controls people and things, and one ultimately that kills people and things. And you're like, that's a first. I think it really is the first time we've heard of these curses, that magic is obviously not all for good people, wholesome people. Like, magic is a curse for some people. Like, Voldemort tried to do the killing curse in Harry, and it backfired on him, hence why he's in this shriveled state. But before getting to that, Harry's not so great year at Hogwarts also is because Ron is mad at him. His best friend won't talk to him.
I don't know what it is. By the way, I love this movie, and this is my favorite Harry Potter movie.
Yeah, it's
But
pretty
anyways,
good.
for some reason, Ron is just like the most annoying fucking character.
Yeah,
He got mad at Harry because for some reason somebody like slipped his name into the Goblet of Fire, and
Yeah.
everybody knows that Harry is not that powerful of a wizard to get past the barrier. And then when Hermione was like dating somebody else, he's getting all pissy. I'm like, what the fuck, Ron?
right.
Just do something.
One of the most painful scenes is the prom date, sipping forward ahead before the trials when they were absolutely
I
horrible.
think the first trial.
All right, the dragon happened when they're
Yeah,
like,
that was awesome.
pick a mini dragon, and that represents the thing you're actually facing. And you're like,
Yeah.
for as a kid, I was like, if it's that small, oh fuck, never mind.
I was like, and the chain broke. I'm like, who's the one who's doing the quality check
Right?
on these tournaments?
Yeah, like I love the fact that Hogwarts at this one is like, yeah, we let people drive around in brooms, like going towards the sky that are pretty high. Now we have dragons that endanger
Yeah.
students, but that's fine. And you're like, oh, okay. After that, it's the prom scene when Ron and Harry got asked out by these sisters, but they ignored them throughout the whole film because they want Hermione.
It's not that they ignored them. It's just that these two boys just was like, oh, these weren't the dates I want. So
Yeah.
I'm not gonna like Harry and Ron were the assholes here.
Yeah, even Harry even gets turned on by the voice actors for Caitlin from Arcane.
And that was the first ever too. I was like, I don't remember Cho having a Scottish accent.
Right?
I was like an Asian woman with a Scottish accent
she-
was like,
She's not
oh,
in,
what?
obviously not into Harry. Very much into Vi later on.
Yeah, she was just like, I'm sorry. I'm like, okay.
Right? Harry gets these hints on how to advance, like how to unlock the dragon egg in the pool, and like he gets Neville gives him some. Don't know what to call it.
Gillyweed.
Gillyweed to help him breathe underwater for that hour.
I do like that. Like for some reason, it's like, yeah, there's something working at the background here. Like we're not seeing how it works, but for some reason, like watching it the first time, you didn't notice, but
Yeah.
watching it the second or third time, you're like, it all fucking makes sense, and like you see it happen. Like when Mad Eye Moody like takes Neville, and he's like, hey, let me show you something, and he gives him like the herbology book
Yeah.
that eventually gives Harry the gillyweed, and like he tells Cedric Diggory that like, hey, put it underwater, you know?
Like giving him all these answers, like Mad Eye Moody is the one pulling the strings, and you later on learn that like there's this whole cult that is dedicated to bring back the Dark Lord, and you're like,
Yeah.
as this tournament is going on, like darker forces are just pulling the strings, and you're like watching it again, like knowing what happens in the future. I'm like, oh, this is a pretty good setup. Not gonna lie.
I know, but it's just weird that like, hey, you know, things are happening, but we're gonna continue. That's the thing I didn't understand with Hogwarts. I'm like, yo, it's the equivalent of having the Olympics and having a terrorist attack happening behind the scenes.
And they're like, the show must go on, and you're like,
I guess.
is this show run by Vince McMahon? Is that why it's going on? Also, the lake. I love the fact that I love how Hogwarts has a lake with more people, and they're like, maybe we should clear this out after the tournament. You know, just in case someone decides to go fishing and gets eaten.
By the way, what was the plan? Like the French girl, clearly she couldn't handle herself very well.
Yeah.
So like her sister's still there. What happens if she doesn't save her? We never got the answer. We're like, oh, Harry Potter heroically saved 2 people instead of 1.
Yeah.
So he gets 2 points. I'm like, what was the plan? You just leave her down there?
Like, they just get the students like, you understand what's going to happen, right? They're like, no, what is going to happen?
That's also another thing. Like, was this consensual? Like, Ron and Hermione got taken away midway of the movie, and you're like, where'd they go?
Right?
Even Harry's like, where the fuck did they go?
Yeah.
And then they're just at the bottom of the fucking lake. I'm like, did they have any consent to this?
Going back to the Dark Council, I forget David Tennant was in the Harry Potter franchise at
Yeah.
one point.
He did a really good job, even though it was like a very brief.
Yeah.
Like maybe he had like screen time of 5 minutes.
Yeah, as Bertie because Junior, like the man who isn't in that inhumane cage where the other guy's at, and you're like, is that? I like how that's wearing how these wizards treat their prisoners with like an Iron Maiden setup almost. You're like, that's imposing.
Yeah. Sorry, what was the name of the actor that plays Mad Eye Moody?
Brendan Gleeson.
Yeah, Brendan Gleeson did such a good job that I felt bad that like you find out that it's actually
David.
David Tennant's character the entire time, and you're like, oh, but I thought he was the guy looking out for Harry the entire time.
And then when he lives up to his name, you're like, I don't think something is quite right with Mad Eye Moody here. But like before that, the last trial is the maze where people get lost and Harry and Cedric Diggory have to work together, and they find out it's a port key to the stuff of Harry's nightmares. And like I forgot how hard this entire sequence goes where as a kid I was like, is this the end of Harry Potter? Is there no more Harry Potter in the Harry Potter movies?
Oh yeah, it got really dark.
Yeah.
Like sure, at first it was like, oh, it's magical. You see mermaids, you see dragons, and then now you're in the graveyard where creepy rat guy is cutting up a little boy, and a no-nosed fiend is just like, I can touch you. I'm like,
Right. Yeah. And then you get the debut of Ralph Fiennes as Voldemort, and you're like, I knew we were missing one esteemed British actor, and here he is. The scene where he goes like from the shriveled up thing to like his full form, I forgot how creepy that was. Like his eyes are snake-like. I'm like, what the fuck is that deal?
dude, like even like speaking of CGI, even like the dragon looked realistic, the mermaids look realistic
Yeah.
to a degree, unless you got really close.
Yeah, yeah.
But what was this 2005 and it looked like that?
Right? You're like, damn. CGI, they were really paying their visual effects artists really well back in '05. Don't know what's happened 10 years later. 20 years
Yeah,
later.
yeah. That was the thing that I read, that like when they did Pirates of the Caribbean and like some older films like late 2000s,
Yeah.
is that the artists loved what they did. They
Yeah.
weren't rushed. And they were paid well too. So they
Yeah.
weren't rushed. They weren't like on a time crunch where they have to mass produce like CGI films, and that's why like a lot of like CGI today is just shit.
Yeah, it's like after Thanos, where he really looks good, people were like, let's not pay our visual effects artists properly. Unless it's directed by Denis Villeneuve in Dune Part 2, where that CGI really holds up. Same with the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Those are two examples where like, I guess there is hope for CGI. While like Disney and like even Warner Brothers are like, I guess I'm in questioning this, even though Warner Brothers has Dune Part 2, but for DC, they're like, you get $1. And you're like, okay, sure.
They're like, here's a sketchbook and a USB drive.
Right?
What's your magic?
Yeah, with Villeneuve, they're like, here's $1 billion. Make the best. And he's like, okay.
All right, I got it.
Right? Anyway, but yeah, CGI is really good, and I forgot how really intimidating Ralph Fiennes is here. Like, when he's telling Harry to, like, pick up your wand, bow, and let's fucking do this, and you're that's why as a kid, I was like, does Harry die in these things? Will it no longer be called Harry Potter, just the Hogwarts Chronicles or something like that? I'm confused, and I'm very worried.
Yeah, like I think Ralph Fiennes probably had like, again, like same with David Tennant, it's just like 5 minutes of screen time.
Yeah.
But man, used up those minutes. I'm like, God. I was very excited for this. Like, we finally get to see the Dark Lord himself.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah.
It's not the moments when he's loud, it's the moments when he's like, when they talk about me, they'll talk about how you begged for that and I was merciful. I'm like, wow, damn, you were scary, man. Also funny that his clan resembles people who also believe in pure blood. And you're like, commentary. It's just ironic this is coming from J.K. Rowling now, you know?
No, Daniel Radcliffe made these movies, not
Yeah.
Sorry.
Daniel Radcliffe and the rest of the production crews made these movies magical. J.K. Rowling has nothing to do with that legacy. For our generation.
It doesn't count anymore.
Yeah.
Sadly, we do get a tragic death here, where I'm just like, oh, I think it's our first one.
Yeah, our first time.
We see like a student die in a Harry Potter movie.
You're right. Even though we were like, there are fucking trolls in the bathroom. Like there's a basilisk down like deeper. There are dragons. How the fuck does nobody die? And it takes the return of the Dark Lord for someone to die. You're like, oh damn, all right, Jesus.
Could all have been prevented.
Yeah,
But oh well, no well.
right when they return, the dad screaming, "My boy is living. It lives in my memory forever."
That's my son! That's my boy!
Like shit.
While the band's just like playing, just like, It's a dead kid in the field.
Right. To be fair, they didn't realize until people were like, hold up. Something ain't right.
I love the TikTok memes of that one. It's just like,
They're like, they win. Holy shit.
fuck.
Right? Mad Eye Moody gets a little too mad. And too Mad Eye Moody. Because he keeps drinking that juice and you're like, what's that juice for? And it's preventing Brandon Gleeson being brought to... Sorry.
Like transformed back into David Tennant.
Yeah, sorry, I lost my words,
Yeah.
but yeah, you're like, Doctor Who, how could you? I thought you were cool.
I do love that scene where, like, I think after the mermaid scene where Mad Eye Moody confronts his dad,
Yeah,
and he does his tick where he does that,
yeah,
and the dad immediately knew. Was like, oh fuck, he's out.
right. He was like,
Yeah,
I love,
and then he gets killed like in the back of the woods.
right. I love the scene when they finally rescue Mad Eye Moody in the chest, and it's a very cool practical effect. It's like you're like, how deep is that chest? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that was a cool scene in
yeah.
my opinion. And like you just see like you just see Mad Eye Moody. I was like, what's up?
Right.
Like he's fine, but he's been stuck there for like an entire like.
Yeah, he's like been trapped there for a year, and he's like, help, please, God.
I'm surprised he still like has meat in his bones. Like just like he's not like starved or anything. Thankfully,
At least
David Tennant fed him.
Yeah, exactly. And that's like one of the more bittersweet endings to the Harry Potter franchise, and we better get used to it because it doesn't get better from here. Cedric Diggory was like the iceberg level of like people Harry starts to lose. It starts with a classmate, and then his uncle, and then fucking Dumbledore, and you're like, yeah, God, give Harry a break, please.
Yeah, and like the secret father figure, Snape too as well. I'm like, it's just downhill.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Dobby, George. I'm like, all right, we're
God.
all going down.
God, I forgot about Dobby. That was really sad. I'm like, give Harry a break, please. It is a bittersweet ending. I do like the fact that, like, this is the turning point. This is the official turning point where, like, the Warner Brothers sign gets darker. It's not John Williams' score gets a bit more haunting, and you're like, all right, here we go. I know we didn't redo a lot of Harry Potter last year, but hopefully this year gives us a lot of opportunities to at least reach Deathly Hallows Part 1. So next year we do Part 2.
When's the TV show coming out?
Next year.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
All right, we can build up to that. That's cool.
Yeah, the entire reboot where each season is a book, and they got John Lithgow to be Dumbledore now.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. I like it.
But yeah, what would you rate Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire?
I know I had some problems with some continuities and like, the rules changing and bending when they're like, hey, you gotta stick to it, but at the same time it can be bent for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah.
Minus those and just like the wonder and the magic before everything just started turning dark as fuck.
Yeah.
This is my favorite Harry Potter movie from all the 7 or 8 movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a reasonable score because it is not a 10 out of 10 for me. There were mistakes done. There are some things that like could have been better, but at the same time, I did enjoy. It's a very I was 6 years old when I saw this, so it was like a really good nostalgia trip.
Yeah.
I really like a solid 8. It's still a good movie. I had fun. CGI was fucking good.
Yeah.
The characters were great, even though like Brendan Gleeson's character isn't him.
Yeah.
I still got attached. I was like, I like this character. Fuck, it's a bad guy. Like, my bad.
Yeah.
All right.
We see him later on as like his proper self.
Yeah, he's proper self. But he's not that twitchy, like crazy, like
Yeah, and Ralph
Anyway,
finds
and then he dies on like maybe the 7th movie or something.
Does he die? I forgot that he died.
He dies. He died off screen. They're like, oh, let's get Harry out of here. And then they're like, he didn't make it. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Shit, I forgot about that. No.
Yeah.
I agree with you. 8 out of 10. It's a pretty good movie. It's my second favorite Harry Potter movie. Rewatching it now.
What's your first one?
Prisoner of Azkaban.
Oh, okay, fair. I like that too.
Yeah, and like rewatching these movies, this franchise in general is such a nostalgia trip. I'm like, yes, childhood Kool-Aid. Like, give it to me, please. But yeah, everybody's great.
What? Childhood what?
Kool-Aid.
Why?
I know what other drinks.
Okay. Alright, it's fine. It's fine. It's
Yeah.
fine. Just go on.
But anyway, everyone's great. The old cast and new additions, Brendan Gleeson, David Tennant, Ralph Fiennes are all pretty excellent. And like, yeah, I do like this slow, gradual turn to like darker themes. And like, it makes me want to watch the entire franchise all over again. Like, I have to withhold myself because I'm like, I might watch it too soon. And then when we do the review, I'll be like, what the fuck happened again? Shit. But yeah, it's a pretty good movie. And again, we'll do the rest probably, hopefully this year and next year. This has nothing to do with Harry Potter, but since news didn't break out until after we did our spy lineup, since this is a movie channel, I just want to say the world will miss Gene Hackman because he passed away last Friday.
Yeah. Such a shame. He was a funny Lex Luthor, not the best one.
Yeah.
But I liked him.
Yeah.
You know, especially his other roles as well. So
Yeah.
we'll miss him.
French Connection, he was pretty good in Unforgiven, and like
Yeah. Remember Unforgiven.
Yeah. And he got to retire not because like not unlike like poor Sean Connery, who after League of Extraordinary Gentlemen was like, I'm out, I'm never doing movies again. He had to like retire on like his own terms, and he's like, you know what, I'm done acting, and lived a peaceful life. But yeah, this is our tribute to Gene Hackman. And also, since the Oscars dropped, congratulations to Honora for winning. Interesting win.
Okay. No, I would say best screenwriting or something like that, or but really best picture.
Well, it was that or Emilio Perez for the Academy.
Why is I do agree. Like, why isn't Dune 2 in like one of the nominees? But okay, I do like Honora. It's fine.
Strange years for the Oscars, but yeah, going back to Harry Potter for a bit, to the audience watching, who's your favorite Harry Potter character or school? I don't know. If someone can explain the expanded universe to us in the comments, that'd be lovely, because I'm like, where did these schools come from? Like at the end when the Russian one turns into a submarine, I'm like, of course it's a submarine, it's Russian. What else do I expect from Harry Potter?
Hey.
From Warner Brothers at least. I'm like, interesting choice. Alright, that's my review for The Goblet of Fire. If you like our videos here, please leave a like, subscribe, and ding the bell icon to get notified of when we upload next. We're also on Spotify and TikTok. TikTok to see your best and funniest moments. Spotify, cheers on the go. And the video Zoe that voices on TikTok and Answolf on Letterboxd. Where can they find you?
You can find me at JohnJoM_ on Instagram. It is my art account. Don't mind the ghost the background.
Sure. And this is the beginning of our fantasy lineup, so stay tuned for other classic 2000s fantasy movies. But until then, we'll see you there. Bye, everybody.
Ciao.